input do you have in series such as Unskippable or Zero Punctuation?
Not much. I work with people who are creating brand new series to kind of generate a focus and a format that works for our audience and that is repeatable. I mean, you guys know, you do weekly shows. You have to have something that works week to week and that is entertaining and that allows you to arrive at the table on day one with some sort of idea of where you're going. As far as you guys or ZP, you know, those shows were already up and running when I came on board, and you guys do a great job. Yahtzee does a great job, so there's no reason to tinker with that formula right now.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the most, and this even goes back to before you were in charge when Russ was still there. The most interaction we had on week to week was like, where's the episode? You know,
Right.
like we. That's one of the reasons that we love having our shows.
Full critic
on the
control.
Escapist is we get editorial control. Like there's never once been something that they've had to come back and be like, we need you to change this, because that's not how they roll, which is nice. So,
well, we try only to partner with people that we know are going to succeed and that have good enough instincts that we don't have to manipulate them, we don't have to intervene, and you guys certainly fit that category.
Oh, thank you. What is your favorite style of content on The Escapist? The comedy, like Loading Ready Run, the less serious stuff, but still, you know, like Zero Punctuation, or the more serious content like some of the columns? Like,
wow, that's a really tough question.
Like Movie Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the stuff we do. Well, I won't say all the stuff. I won't tell you what I don't love, but I love most of what we do on The Escapist. The thing that I like about the site overall is that it's very focused on gaming as a lifestyle. Having worked at IGN for such a long time, I was very focused on reviews and previews. I mean, it was very product focused. And that's great. There's definitely a place for that. But working at The Escapist, it's more treating gaming as a sort of a cultural phenomenon. So I like the types of content that speak to gaming as a lifestyle. Something like Gymquisition, where it's not just about here's this game, here's what I like about it. It's here's a large issue within the industry. Here's a way we're perceiving games, or a way that people are thinking about games, or game criticism that's relevant. So the types of content that I appreciate most are content that are the types of content that inform that perspective.
All right. Well, here's a
I also like jokes.
Yes, jokes are good.
Jokes are
Of course.
Here's a couple of good questions. If I was thinking about applying to write for The Escapist, what are some concerns I should be thinking about?
Well, do you want to be poor the rest of your life? I mean, this is not a very lucrative career in terms of financial return. I mean, it's the kind of thing that people do because they love the medium.
Yep.
It's the sort of thing that people do because they would be doing it anyway, even if they weren't getting paid for it.
That's why we're here, because we don't. Because it's not lucrative for us either.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but it's the kind of thing that you enjoy doing and would do anyway, just because it's inside you. You've got to get it out. So if you don't have that enthusiasm, you can't fake it. That would be my first piece of advice to people. The second thing is to be broad-minded. You know, I've got a relative in my family who wants to break into the gaming industry, but all he ever plays are wrestling games. And I say, well, you know, your perspective is very narrow. You need to sort of broaden your interest a little bit. So someone who wanted to write for The Escapist, I would say just make sure that it's something you really, really want to commit to doing, and that you have a perspective that's broader than just what you've experienced or what you think is interesting yourself personally.
Sorry, Lily's in the chat, and she's sad that I didn't mention the webcomics. I'm sorry, Lily.
I love webcomics.
Lily, who does Name Game. I'm good, I got these two.
That's okay, we'll give Lily plenty of love tomorrow when she shows up.
Yay!
Plug.
What's the, and this can go back beyond The Escapist, back to your IGN days, what's the worst game you've ever had to review?
Wow, that's big. When I first started freelancing, I had to review all the schlock that the regular staff editors didn't want to touch. So I played things like Jeff Gordon's Pepsi Racer, which was quite terrible. Once I got on staff, I reviewed a couple of stinkers. There's a game called Blaze and Blade that was just terrible. There's a game called Tsunami 2465 that I once said was as pleasurable as walking around with a can of paint hanging from your testicles.
Ow.
So those are the ones that immediately spring to mind.
That's awesome.
Have you ever played Titus the Fox for Game Boy Color?
No, I haven't. I haven't played De5ertBus either, but I hear that it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's
really
so-
bad.
Oh, it is. It is.
You gotta really get into it and
But
play it for
yeah,
about a
if
week
you don't
at a
put
time.
30 hours, you don't really understand the experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first
Right,
30, 40
So-
hours, you're not going to enjoy after
Yeah.
that.
The
It's really good.
the end game is great.
That's right.
It's basically
the
Final
boss
Fantasy
fight at the
13.
end is epic.
With fewer noises.
No, you
It's
actually, you
yeah,
actually
the
fight
boss turns into
the
a giant
stop sign.
mechanized creature, and Godzilla drops down. It's awesome. It's great.
What's the okay? Thinking back, this is I guess the other side of that coin. Thinking back, what is the first game that you played that you truly enjoyed?
Wow, that I truly enjoyed. I really liked Adventure for the Atari. That was one of
Nice.
the
Oh,
first
yeah.
games where I thought,
Sweet.
Yeah.
wow, I get this. You know, like I understand what's cool about this. And you look at that game today, and there was really nothing there. You're just a little square, and you pick up an arrow, and you fight a dragon that looks like a duck. But it was just so compelling. You were able to sort of project so much of yourself into that game. At least I was, as a little 5 or 6 year old kid. That stuck with me my whole life.
But was it cinematic?
It was very cinematic.
And was it compelling?
Was it immersive?
It was compelling.
It was all the buzzwords. It was
Yeah.
emergent. You
Yeah.
had the bat, and you could lock him up in a tower, or
right.
you could steal a key and get stuck in a castle, and suddenly your game.
Oh
was-
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you were like that game. You were playing like some pretty high level thinking to
Yeah.
very simple objects and whatnot, and it was very cool. It was sort of like Zelda before there was Zelda,
That's right,
yeah, I loved it.
Wasn't it like 2K all told or something?
something like that. Yeah.
Really, really small.
Okay, I want to get to this because this is just funny. Okay, so yesterday we were introducing our friend Steve here to the chat, and we were like, "Hey everyone, it's Steve," and then people in the chat were like, "Oh, ask him what it's like having the last name Butts," and I was like, no, Steve Butts is calling in tomorrow. This is a
right.
completely different Steve Dengler.
Just for
Right.
clarity, Steve, my last name is Dengler, which is not a lot different than
No.
Butts when you're growing
funny.
up, quite frankly.
The
so.
butts
There's
and the
definitely
dangler
some
often
jokes
go
in it.
together.
And so
Not gonna
then I made some sort of offhand comment about Butts and Dengler, they fight crime.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And
Dangler butts.
Someone
Rolls off
wrote
the tongue a little bit.
Someone wrote this couple hundred word short
Pretty
story
awesome.
about detectives Stephen Dengler and Steve Butts,
Sure.
which I sent to you guys, and we're gonna do a little reading of at the moment. I'll provide the narration.
All right.
So
let me-
we're
let
doing
me
our
pull up
lines,
the,
you're doing
the
narration?
script again.
Yeah,
here.
sure, we'll do
Oh,
that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let me get my.
Anyway, I'm gonna put it over here so I can. If you have your copy there, Steve, then I
do.
need to put this on the screen. Perfect. Oh, and we need a chief. I'm looking at you, Jer.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
But I
and
need to.
Chief of what?
just the chief of police.
Oh,
He's the chief.
I need to have some sort of visibility
Hey,
of this.
give him,
he's
grab
not
that. Someone grab
evidence.
that
Because he's the chief.
police hat right
30 minutes less.
It's a radio play, though.
Because he's the chief.
1 second, guys.
Right.
Steven, if I'm going to do this though, I don't think Graham can get it properly formatted on
There you
that
go.
screen.
You're
so
the
I'll
chief.
need.
Chief of police.
So
Maybe I
I'll
can do
need to-
this. Hang on.
Oh
Alright.
yeah, copying and
You
pasting.
want
That's
to,
good.
you're the
Copy
detective.
paste.
Jared's a really good chief, actually.
Could
For the
you
win.
grow your beard out a little bit more in the next 30 seconds?
That's pretty impressive.
I think I can hear it growing.
There we
Are
go.
detectives officers?
Detectives don't have to wear hats. You know,
Didn't you normally
Yeah,
use
no,
the
we're
dog
detectives.
they're
We're
subtle.
undercover,
to
possibly.
get
There
that
you
gargle?
Okay, and then there's. Okay, what else? Who else is in here? There's a.
All kinds of people. Russian?
Yeah, there's more people than I
Russian.
thought.
Wait,
There's a-
wait. The Russian has to
Russian?
be Kathleen.
Kathleen's a Russian?
Because Russian is the accent she can do.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Okay,
true, yeah.
so Kathleen, you'll be clearly Russian.
Okay.
true.
No, I'm just
It
narrating.
says not
Sure,
just
why not?
Russian.
It's the old
Clearly
No, I
Russian.
don't
It's
think
the
so.
old
Clearly, yeah, you're right.
I was like, why is it
Clearly
moving
Russian.
weird? That's pretty
Said
clever.
a man
though.
clearly. Well, Kathleen can take it.
Okay, it's gonna be a lady.
You'll never know the
Yeah,
difference.
it doesn't. I don't think it says
And-
otherwise.
Yeah.
Is it cinematic?
Someone to read this
Russian.
line.
Brady.
Sounded more American. Maybe
The
British on a,
American?
maybe British at a
Daniel, you want to do this?
Yes. Daniel?
Yeah, get up here.
We thinking Texan?
Okay,
What are we
read this
thinking
line.
here?
You go one more.
Okay.
I don't know,
All right, let's try this. Let's see how this works. All right.
So which one lands hit? Got?
He's got
12 a.m. Ralph Roy Motel. Stephen Dengler gripped his revolver with one hand, finger tightly curled around the trigger. Sweat ran down his brow, and his lips curled into a snarl as fierce as an angry horse. Butts! He whispered across the doorway. Steve Butts looked up, similarly holding a pistol.
Ready?
Butts nodded. The newbie was clearly uncomfortable. This was his first real bust. Some kind of small-time group of criminals who wanted to bust down the doors at a charity operation in Canada. The Desert Bus, they called it. We could hear them plotting just inside the dank motel as we limbered ourselves up.
This will be no simple task.
Said a man, clearly
A
Russian.
woman.
Said a woman. Said a woman, clearly Russian. She sounded big and battle-hardened.
The moon base has extensive security.
Our agents can handle it, I assure you.
This one sounded more American. Maybe British at a stretch.
Then we should begin as soon as we can.
It was then that the door was burst in. Both were scruffy, both were armed to the teeth with a wide variety of knives and firearms, and both had revolvers pointed directly at them.
Freeze!
Came the voice of Butts as the two cops stepped fully into the motel room. Neither of the terrorists moved, aside from a grin and a twitch from the American. His phone was sending a message.
You are too late.
He said. He looked completely self-satisfied.
We've already dispatched 100 agents to the moon base. Those children will never get the money.
Butts and Dangler kicked the two men to the ground and cuffed them. 12:35, road to the moon base.
Jer.
There.
You can't do this to me, Dangler!
The yells of the chief threatening to burst the cell phone speakers.
You need to get back to the station pronto!
I'm sorry, Chief, but this problem is bigger than both of us, and I'm not just gonna sit down and let it happen.
Dangler's foot was fully outstretched, forcing the pedal down as far as it would possibly move.
Butts, take this call! I need to drive!
Butts and Dangler could both hear the chief screaming as the phone was handed over. Dangler's grip tightened on the steering wheel as his knuckles were white. The engine screamed in protest, but still he did his best to pump all the fuel it could. There was a black vehicle in the distance as they were closing in fast. The outline of the moon base was just on the horizon.
Chief,
Said Butts as calmly as he could with his adrenaline pumping.
we're already there.
More imperceptible yelling, then the phone clicked off. Butts cursed and threw it to
Damn
the
it!
threw it to the floor of the car.
We're off the case, Dangler.
Do you really think this is about the case anymore?
Asked Dangler, leaning forward in his seat as they approached the vehicle.
I could care less about our jurisdiction, Butts. I've got a bus to save. To be continued. Dude, we're an awesome team.
I think MVP goes to the
Absolutely.
Russian man.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta say
Battle
that to
hard
be
Russian
continued.
man.
That better be serious. They better
I'll trade you.
because
We
if-
gotta
if
find the
that
writer.
story's- If that story's left at that point, I don't think I'm gonna be able to sleep.
That's right.
Could that be a challenge? Could we like challenge the person
Someone
to
to
finish
finish
the
it.
story?
No, a different person should finish it. Yes! We should get a different person to finish it. This would be funny though.
Well,
No!
we'll have to.
Sorry, well, you missed the.
If we
Well,
don't
I
get
did, yeah.
if we don't get the second part, well, because it's pretty late where Steve Butts is. We'll have to Skype you both back in later in the run.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. But if you wrote that story, send us a second part. And if we don't get a second part, we'll do a challenge or something.
Can I like
Yeah.
challenge?
That
Can I
was great.
incentivize it somehow?
All right, let's incentivize
Is
this.
there something I can do, like to
Pig
like
swinging.
offer money? Well, to finish it.
Let me see.
It's kind of hard to do.
Well, we want to see if we can get the people who wrote that originally to do it.
Agreed. Those people. Yeah. I want,
Kathleen?
If they do it by a certain time,
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
Like,
get them a
What's the
game or
status
something.
of the
I
Irish
don't know.
stomach donations?
Probably not.
is there some paradigm we can sort of fit this into here?
We got it. We're not even sure if they're still in the
I'll tell you what. I will reply to him,
chat,
and
so
we'll
we'll figure it out.
see what we can do.
All right.
You and me, Steve. We're
doing
gonna
hot
finish
dog
this
yet?
story.
It's us. We're gonna crack this one. We're gonna get that bus. We're gonna save it.
I feel a web series here, man.
Right?
I like
I
it.
feel like a new calling in my life.
Yeah,
Forget a new
tell
web
me.
series. I may be in the wrong career.
There you go.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was
Right?
a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. someone's challenging you to write a review of Desert Bus for The Escapist. Oof.
Nice.
That's a game though. And you have to put 30 hours into it before you review it.
Right. Yeah. So it's standard Skyrim rules apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotcha.
There's a Desert Bus app.
You have to get 3 points.
Which one?
Which Steve?
Butts.
Hello.
Mr. Butts.
There is a desert.
Yes.
I have been challenged to assemble as many facts as I can before the end of my shift. So I need to ask you. Each fact is worth money, so it has to be a good fact.
Great.
I need to ask you for the best fact that you can give me. What is your favorite piece of trivia?
My favorite piece of trivia.
Interesting.
The panda is actually a giant raccoon, not a bear.
Nice.
I like it.
That's good. Quality.
I believe that's actually a misconception.
All right, it's a fact. It's not a misconception.
That they have actually
We can
determined
hear you,
that
Matt.
I know,
You're
but
bad at whispering.
last time I looked it up,
This
they